In Tribbie's video, I went over how she was inspired by the Greek god Hermes. He is the god of travelers and messages, but he's also the god of cunning and thieves. Tribbie doesn't reflect that side of Hermes, as she and her sisters are pure beings with not a bad bone in their bodies. But we do have a character with her own pair of fancy boots, which she wears while running as fast as the wind. Meet amphoreus' demigod of trickery herself, Cipher! Tribbie isn't the only amphoreus character Cipher has some overlap and inspiration with. I said castorice took cues from Charon for her touch of death, but I also think Cipher drew inspiration from the ferryman too. After all, the Trailblazer and castorice have to pay the thief a fee to have her take them to Styxia. Her super speed comes from the coin of whimsy she's always carrying around. And it's not a power exclusive to her, based on how the Flame Reaver was able to match her speed by taking the coin from her. We're getting a bit ahead of ourselves though, let's backtrack. Cipher has been a demigod for over 1,000 years by the time we meet her. We knew she was one ever since Aglaea's interaction with Bartholos back in 3.0. During her millennium-long life, she's honed her skills as a thief to take treasures and trinkets alike. She's also become very prideful of her talents as a kitty phantom thief. This trait of hers is one of a handful she got from her HI3 variant. Yes, time for round 7 of which Flame Chaser are they? This one was obvious. Cipher is a stand-in for Partophelos, the 13th Flame Chaser. Both are the resident cat girls of their respective groups, for one thing. The two gals happen to be pretty braggadocious of their skill sets, as well as have a love for collecting anything shiny. In HSR, this love for shiny things runs so deep that the reason Cipher even came to Akuma to help is because Aglaea handed off a good portion of her belongings to convince the cat. Cipher's bond with Aglaea is very important to her character. When she was much younger, Cipher would go to Aglaea's store to pawn off whatever she could. Cipher would always get roughed up, even to the point of bleeding at times, trying to get her hands on these items. It was in her nature to lie and steal, even if it got her in way too much trouble.
I've tried not to become a liar, but honestly, it's just too hard. I'm close to giving up.
Aglaea, the only person who could see through the girl's lies, elected to let little Cipher stay under her care. During that time, she also used to be an apprentice at Kephale's priestly court, though she admits she mainly joined just to pickpocket the elders. That time of solace would come to an end. We don't know the details, but Cipher's conversation with the Golden Beetle seems to imply that Aglaea had something to do with Hyacine's death.
1,000 years ago, out of foolishness, I let my silence steal away the most beautiful sound I'd ever known.
Cipher would eventually leave the nest and rarely come back to Akuma. She caught on to something being wrong with Bartholos when he mentioned her brief time in the priestly court, a time in her life she hasn't shared with anyone other than Aglaea. I think that alone proves that she feels conflicted looking back on that time in her past. And you understand why she doesn't look back fondly on the past when you look at what she's been through. Her first character story and her As I've Written chapters make a point to show how much she's been scorned, ostracized, and brutalized by the people around her. There was this old woman who was like a mother to Cyphera, who took the blame for one of the girl's acts of theft to allow her to escape punishment. Her first character story shows how she got attacked by hounds, running through crowds of people who could care less about her wounds and deemed a thief like her deserved such punishment. Cipher embraced a life where she was constantly on the run. Despite giving Aglaea the cold shoulder a lot of the time, there's undeniably a part of this cat girl that loves her. We see this in her design. She still wears the boots Aglaea gave her and also wears the hood the Gold Weaver personally fixed. But she was unable to show her care for Aglaea to her until it was too late. Now, I want you to close your eyes and imagine with me for a second. Picture a parent or parental figure, mother or father. If for whatever reason, you keep your distance from them. You don't typically go out of your way to see them or interact with them. And then, out of the blue, you learn they passed away. And they just so happen to leave behind a voice memo where they specifically apologize to you for everything they did, all the mistakes they made. I know that would definitely mess me up emotionally, and I know it did for Cipher because that's basically what this scene of Aglaea's final message to her was. I'm really trying to explain why this scene honestly made me tear up a little bit. These are my two favorite VTubers. Clearly I have a particular type of issue. Cipher chose to avoid Aglaea for all those years. For good reason, but we'll get to that near the end of the analysis. She's always been running away, never staying in one place or sticking to almost any responsibilities. There's this running theme of duty in the 3.3 quest. Hyacine fulfills her ancestor's duty of standing up against Stelios, phainon embracing his duty as the leader of the Chrysos heirs, but with Cipher, she's often been shirking her duties as a demigod. Until Aglaea's death, she's made an active effort to avoid her prophesized fate, as explained by her at the beginning of the questline. And part of the reason she dodged her responsibilities is because of self-doubt. As made apparent by the flashbacks with her as a child, she's never felt like a lying thief such as her belonged in a team of exceptional individuals. The reason why she avoided Aglaea, who was practically a mother figure for the longest time, was made clear during Cipher's final moments. She was so afraid of her lies being exposed that she couldn't stay around someone who so easily read people's hearts. But 3.3 goes to show that she is fit to be a Chrysos heir alongside the others. Aglaea gave Cipher a piece of advice, that sometimes the act of lying can be noble compared to telling the truth. And Cipher's usage of her demigod ability is proof of that. Cipher explains the rules of her reality warping as follows.
Lies are what Zagreus is best at. If everyone believes in a lie, then it becomes reality.
While she does like to use this ability to mess with people for fun, like tricking the Trailblazer and Mem that the Flame Reaver snuck up on them, she more often than not uses her power for good. She used her power to allow Zagreus to live past the trial of ascension through the identity of Bartholos. She then used that power multiple times to hide the world-bearing core flame and divert the Flame Reaver's attention from Akima. Her game of cat and mouse with the Flame Reaver was what ultimately resulted in her death. Upon becoming a demigod, Cipher's prophecy was, "You shall walk with greed and die over petty change." Her petty change was the coin. Instead of running away, she went to grab the coin of whimsy, and that action was her undoing. As for walking with greed, that would involve the greatest lie she's ever told, one we learn while she's on death's door. In reality, the Dawn device carried on Kefali's back was only meant to last a few hundred years. However, by taking on the identity of a trusted priest, she deceived everyone in Amphoreus that the Dawn device would last indefinitely, and for the entire millennium after, that's exactly what it did. She had an intense desire to keep the peaceful bubble around Akima alive. While she is certainly a lover of wealth and treasure, the greed that moved her to weave that lie was a selfless one, being greedy for the world's happiness. Her lies were what allowed the people of this world to keep living for 1,000 years. As Aglaea says,
You are the unsung hero of Amphoreus, Cipher. You saved us all.
I brought up how the big theme of 3.3's quest is duty, but another prominent theme during this part of Amphoreus is the value of both truth and lies. Hyacine shows us the negative aspects of lies, of how stories and legends can be twisted into something almost entirely different. Sometimes it can be liberating and empowering to face the truth, but Cipher shows the benefits lies and fiction can hold over reality. As seen by her actions in this questline, not all lies are crafted with malice. Cipher's lie about the Dawn device's longevity managed to save everyone. Through that one lie, she achieved the 1 in 100 million possibility of a future that doesn't end in total annihilation. What ultimately saved Amphoreus wasn't Kefali or Orynyx, but Zagreus, and the millennium-long lie spun by Cipher. And don't you forget it. Thank you for watching this video. This is one part of a series of analysis videos on Honkai Star Rail's cast of characters. If you want to see me analyze another character from this game, please subscribe to the channel so we can hit our goal of 2,000 subscribers this year. It's totally free, you can unsub at any time, and it will make me smile. As a smaller content creator on the platform, engaging with my videos truly helps. If you feel so generous as to support me financially, I have a Ko-fi you can donate to, and if you want some short novels to read, you can buy my book series Flamebringer Prince off Amazon. Links to them in the description. Thank you once again for watching, have a great rest of your day, and until we meet again, take care.